Gosh, I'm super excited to hear about this topic from you, Yuji, and I'm going to hand it over to you. I think everyone knows you, so maybe you'll just do a brief intro, but over to you.
Well, thank you, Marjorie. I appreciate the warm welcome, and it's great to have you on. And thank you to everybody who is still around for this final session. It is something that I'm especially passionate about, and it's really cool also just to see so many wonderful pre-sales leaders from across the globe on a single call. I mean, there's a day when this something like this I could never imagined, and now it's happening. So I'm really excited to be here in front of you all, and I'm really excited to be able to share a little bit about PreSales Academy and how we feel like it's going to start to help potentially build the future of pre-sales from a talent perspective. So before I get into it, just really quickly, my name is Yuji Higashi. I am a co-founder and of a PreSales Academy and PreSales Collective. Prior to those roles, I built and led a global pre-sales team at a company called Outreach, based out here in Seattle. So without further ado, let's get into it. We'll talk about building the future of pre-sales. But first, let's start with the why, right? I'm a big Simon Sinek fan, and I'm sure many of you are as well. So better place to start than the why. Let's talk about that for a moment here. So the big challenge I think that we all experience as hiring managers is this talent gap that exists. Oh, we're not seeing my screen. Okay, my bad. Here we go. Now we shouldn't be in business. All right. So anyways, the why and the big problem we have in pre-sales today is this talent gap that exists, right? Everybody is hiring. Everybody wants experienced, qualified talent to fill their pre-sales roles, of which there are many empty roles to be filled. Yet there's not enough talent in the pool that has pre-sales experience, as we know, right? And so there's this massive disconnect between the supply and demand equation here. And but there are actually a lot of people out there that have the qualities or the raw potential, right? They just need a little bit of a chance. And that's some of what we're providing. So really the two big reasons why we created PreSales Academy is one, to help you hire as a hiring manager, right? As a former hiring manager myself, I know it's very hard to hire, and especially in this market. And it just seems to be getting harder and harder as tech gets, more explosive and better well-funded. So, it's a big problem. And it's even harder when you're looking for diverse talent, people from non-traditional backgrounds. And, so what we're trying to do as part of this, one of the big reasons is to help expand that talent pool and provide you with vetted, trained, and more qualified talent than you would otherwise have access to. Now, on the other side of that coin is that everybody on this call today, right, it has been rewarded with a phenomenal career in pre-sales. And I think that we all could agree that it is probably one of the best jobs you can have, right? And it's a little bit sales. You get to be hands-on with tech. You get to feel the win, but you don't have to deal with all the BS that the direct sellers have to. And so it's a really great career. We want to bring more people into it. We want to create more access for anybody to get into this role that we have all, benefited from in our careers. And there are a lot of people out there with that raw ability, right? They just need a little bit of help in developing these fundamentals of pre-sales. And that's the other side that we want to try to solve, right? Is providing these people with the access and those fundamentals to be able to get and crack into this profession that we all love. So let's talk a little bit about the how and the what of PreSales Academy, how we're going to actually accomplish those two things. So if I were to throw all the information about what this program is on one slide, this is what it would be. It's essentially a 10-week program. It's part-time, and it's really focused on reskilling. And what I mean by that is that we're really looking for folks that have a few years of work experience, professional experience. So they're not necessarily out of college, because there are programs that exist to support undergrads, but they're looking to make a career change. And what we do is over this 10 weeks, we cover 8 foundational topics of pre-sales, things like sales process, discovery, certainly demo and presentation. We do a little bit of value-based selling as well. And then we do provide some foundational technology training as well. Obviously, the universe of technology is large, so there's no way we could teach it all. But we teach them some foundational things like APIs and things that are fairly universal. And then we also do 10 role plays, right? Because it's not just about forcing information, onto people and hoping that it sticks and that they can go out and be SCs, right? It's about developing competency, right? And competency in conducting discovery and performing demos and doing presentations. And so that's what we do. We do role play and role play and role play, and we really drill them until they feel very comfortable doing demos at the end of the program. So that's the high level. Let's dive into some of the specifics of the how. So on the one side, right, I mentioned competency. That's a big focus for this program, right? We want to give them the skills, the knowledge, the application of those things to round out competency. And then on the other side, right, I think we all recognize as leaders that a network and connections is hugely important to driving, one, starting a career, right, but also driving a career forward. And so through this program, a big focus is also to provide them with a foundational pre-sales network and connections and really a support system, right? As they're making this life change, this career transition, they really need a support system to get through it. And so we're providing them with some of that. And I'll get into a little bit more about how we're going about that specifically. So a little bit more on the how, right? A lot of the curriculum that we've built out for this program is not just built by me and my experience in two different companies in pre-sales, right? It's what we really try to do is bring in some of the best to provide input. And on the one side, we're doing that through our pre-sales training partners, two of which you'll probably recognize here, Great Demo and 2In, who train probably a lot of your pre-sales teams out there. And they're really supporting us with content instruction on the topics that they're great at, right? So conducting discovery, doing demos, demo methodology, some virtual presentations, things like that. And on the other side, we've brought in dozens of pre-sales professionals from the community who have helped provide input on content, on curriculum, on role play scenarios, and all those things. So there's only 6 folks listed here because this is a simple or a jam-packed slide, but the rest of the crew looks like this. And this is just I just want to thank this wonderful group of volunteers that we have. They act as coaches for role plays. They act as mentors. We have a number of instructors from this group that do some of the presentations during our evening lecture sessions. And then a lot of them have also provided input as content SMEs as well. So again, this is how we're building the support system. This is how we're building the curriculum. And trying to make sure that it's also a very well-rounded program by bringing in a lot of different perspectives. So really grateful for this group. They've helped build a fantastic program so far, and it's only going to get better. And they're really also providing this tremendous support system for these students, which I'm so grateful for. All right. So ultimately, from a hiring manager perspective, what are we trying to produce for you, right? As far as the output of this academy, and it's really to provide you with a pipeline of candidates who are trained, right? Who've gone through 100+ hours of consistent training through some of the renowned training partners that we work with, and who are already developing some competency, right? They're not going to be perfect coming out. These are very much going to be entry-level SC type folks, but they're going to already be fairly comfortable with doing a demo, right, in front of a lot of different people. They're going to be well coached, right? Like I mentioned, they're getting coaching and mentorship from a lot of experienced folks, which is really, really helpful through their transition. And then they're getting vetted, right? They're expected to complete 100% of their assignments to pass. They're expected to hit a certain bar on all of the role plays at a minimum. And then, of course, we hold them to a fairly high standard on professionalism, right? Communication, showing up on time, right? This is how we're vetting them. And so if you think about it from a hiring manager perspective, in an interview cycle, your interview panel of folks get to spend maybe a handful of hours with a candidate before you have to make a decision on hiring them. Whereas here, we're vetting these folks for 100+ hours, right? Through a lot of different types of assignments and exercises. So that's ultimately what we're providing to you as a hiring manager. And on, again, the other side of that coin, the outcomes we're providing for these students are, one, ultimately, we want them to get the pre-sales job that they really want, right? A role that they can be excited about, and on a trajectory and a career that they can get excited about as well. And that's number two as well here, is to set them up for long-term career success, right? It's not just getting them that first job and hoping they survive it. It's again, giving that support system and continued education so that they can be successful in their first year, their second year, and their 10th year, right? All right. So just really quickly, right, on as far as how we fund the program, just in transparency, want to be super open about that. So the students do pay a tuition. However, there is a deferred option that makes it very accessible. So in that case, they don't have to pay anything up front, and they don't have to pay anything at all if they don't land a job that eventually pays them at least $70K a year, right? And so that's how we try to make it accessible. So if somebody doesn't have the means to start the program, they can very much still get in without paying anything up front. On the other side of that, the hiring companies contribute through a placement contribution if they ultimately hire students. So it's contingent on ultimately if you hire a student and that they are with you for a certain period of time. We also have sponsors who have supported the program as well that don't necessarily hire or provide students, but they support the mission and they want to help further the mission and help us support us in what we're doing. So ultimately, like the goal here, right, is to create a win-win-win for everybody, right? So hiring managers, you get pre-qualified talent that's fairly low risk, that are vetted, and the individuals on the other side get kind of the back door, so to speak, into pre-sales, right? Because they have that pathway that hasn't existed until now. And then, of course, the academy gets funded, and we can continue to grow and scale and impact more people ultimately, which is the goal, right? Help more people change lives for the better, and also help more hiring managers with their hiring challenges. All right, with that, I'm excited to introduce you to the first cohort that we've ever had. But first, I just want to quickly cover the demographic mix. Something that we're super proud of, right, is that relative to the existing demographic makeup of pre-sales, based on the recent state of diversity report that we put out there, we feel these numbers are, better than that in the sense that they're making a positive difference towards helping pre-sales be a bit more diverse from a demographic makeup perspective. And so even though it's small cohort, we're taking baby steps in the right direction, and we're very proud of, and we'll continue to track and publish these numbers because they are super important to us. And here they are, just really quickly, right? There are 13 wonderful students. They come from a hugely wide range of backgrounds, and all of them have been working very, very hard every evening. For the last, we're in week 9 right now, so they've been working hard for the last 8.5 weeks in the evenings to basically, make this career transition. And now they're getting to the point where they're very eager and starting to be really ready to take on their first pre-sales role. And so we're very excited about getting them that opportunity. One really quick highlight of a student here, Brittany. Brittany was actually previously a nurse. So she's super strong on the human side of sales, as you would expect from a nurse. She, empathy, patience, discovery, diagnosing. She just needs a little bit of time to learn the process of sales, right? The approach, the methodology, and then also dive a little deeper into technology. And of course, she's got more to learn coming out of this program, but she's been super impressive in her ability to really pick up the concepts and develop competency very quickly. And so we're excited about Brittany's, taking that next step. We think she's going to be a really, really great SC coming out of the program. And it's been fun getting to know her over the last several weeks. All right, with that, really quickly, I'm going to cover what's next. Right. So far, we're just about to complete our first cohort ever. We launched this, just for context, the Pre-Sales Academy at large back in July. So we've been building out the program and running the first cohort since then. As we go into 2022, what we want to do is we've established a goal of impacting 100 individuals. So we're aiming for 100 individuals to go through this program and ultimately, ideally, get into pre-sales roles. And that's the goal. And we started with 13. So that means that each cohort that we run next year, needs to scale a little bit. And that's a lot of where the energy will be spent, as to how do we, refine the program and really, really dial it in so that we can impact more folks. So, some of the things that we're doing between now and 2022 to put the plans in motion is, one, we've launched applications. You probably saw in our Beyond the Demo newsletter this morning that applications are now open for our second cohort that will start in January. So we're really excited about building a strong class of folks to go into the new year. And if you know anybody, please do refer them in. The next thing we'll focus on is really enhancing the program. Cohort 1, we've learned a ton, right? There's a lot of things we got really right. There's a lot of things we didn't get right as far as building out that curriculum and the role plays in the process. And so as a collective team with all the volunteers involved, we'll continue to evolve and iterate because we want this program to be really, really, really good, right? I think it is already good, but there's a lot of room, as with everything, to get better and better as we go through additional cohorts. And then we want to expand. I talked about scale. That's the big goal, right? Is we want to continue to impact as many people as we can. And so the way we're going to do that is through increasing cohort sizes and then also expanding into different time zones, potentially internationally as well. So that's something we're exploring, is how do we serve international markets and international individuals. All right. So lastly, how can you support PreSales Academy, right? I mentioned it before, but refer applicants, right? If you're a hiring manager and you're interviewing candidates, maybe that are just about there, they have the raw potential, but maybe they're just a little bit too high risk for you to hire at that stage, send them our way. We'll put them through the 10-week program, and hopefully they'll be in better shape for you to hire them at that, as far as their competency and their skills. And then ultimately, if you're hiring, right, hiring especially entry-level SCs, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a shout. Shoot us an email at info@presalesacademy.com and let us know how we can potentially set you up as a hiring partner. And then just spread the word, right? We're trying to further this mission of supporting a lot of people and expanding the talent pool of pre-sales. So it helps us if you can just kind of spread the word across the board. And then if you want to volunteer, again, also let us know. We're always looking for more volunteers to support the students, and especially as we continue to grow the size of the cohorts, we'll be looking for even more volunteers. So we'd love to have you support if you're willing and able and interested. Lastly, just want to shout out to our partners who support specifically PreSales Academy. MindTickle is the platform we use in PreSales Academy. It's been hugely helpful in running and facilitating the program. And of course, as I mentioned, 2Win and Great Demo have been hugely supportive in providing a lot of curriculum and content. With that, I just want to say thank you, and thank you from all of the students in the cohort that are very excited to go out and join your teams potentially, or just be part of the pre-sales community at large. You might be seeing them around Slack or all over LinkedIn. So, but yeah, thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys sticking around to hear and learn more about PreSales Academy.
This is great, Yuji. Thanks for giving an update on the program. I think it's, like I said, extremely important for the future of our profession and how we continue to build talent pipelines, especially, I love that pie chart with the diversity and really that you all are being very thoughtful about that, because I think that's something that as an industry and as a profession, we need to be thinking about on a regular basis. So I got some questions for you. I got lots of questions actually for you.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Sorry. So the first one is the PreSales Academy a fit for existing SCs who could use some basic training?
It's a great question. So right now the focus is very much on helping bring new folks into the role. So people that are getting reskilled and looking to make a career transition. With that said, there is a lot of interest from hiring managers in different companies that would like to put their more junior or entry level SCs through a program like this to give them that foundational knowledge and competency. And so we are exploring ways that we can service those folks as well. And so if you are interested in that as an employer or a manager, let us know, because that will help us formulate, build out a program that could serve you and your team in that way.
That's great. And I even tell some of my more senior team members, you can always learn new skills. Yeah. Like there's always new ways to do things, right? So, totally. You kind of touched on this, but can you go a little bit deeper into what are PSA's plans to expand globally?
Yeah. So right now there's, I would say that we're still exploring those plans. There's certain challenges with expanding into other countries and other geographies across the board from a hiring perspective, from a licensing perspective. So it's absolutely something we want to do because there's a lot of demand as far as people that really want to break into pre-sales, and we get emails every day from people across the globe that say, "I really want to do this," and so we want to get there, and it's something we want to do fairly quickly. So I guess, that's just the way to say it. We don't have concrete plans yet, but definitely stay tuned because we move very quickly, and we're looking forward to helping people, not just here in the US or North America, but globally as well. So we'll get there. We'll get there very quickly.
Yeah. And I think, as organizations, we talked earlier about the digital acceleration, right? Global posts are going to be a big one for us. So
that's right.
That's huge. Lots of great compliments. The Pre-Sales Academy seems amazing, says one person. And the person asks, do you scour your own PSC job board as potential opportunities for your cohort?
That's a good question, actually, a good point. We don't today, but it is something that we certainly could do. I think, we've been blessed with, I think, a lot of interest across the board because this is a fairly unique program. And so there's a lot of people that are applying from a lot of different places, a lot of different sources. So we haven't really had to do a lot of that, but certainly, a decent thought, decent idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of job opportunities out there, so that should be really interesting. Mm-hmm. One other question is, can you share how people can partner with PSA, and what's the contact information?
Yeah, so I think the best way to do it, we have actually, the best way to do it is to go to the website, and there's a For Companies tab at the top of the PreSalesAcademy.com website, where as an employer, if you want to be a hiring partner or even just have interest and want more information, you can just fill out a very short form. It's like 4 fields, and then just gives us a little bit of a context around how you're thinking about hiring from Academy. And at that point, we can send more detailed information around the process and what it looks like. But essentially, what we're looking for is employers that are looking to, build out an associate or entry level set of roles, and we want to try to basically act as a pipeline for those roles, ultimately to help those folks continue to bring in more folks into pre-sales in a more direct path, right, than these students would have to ultimately go through otherwise. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Oh, I think that was all I was going to say.
Okay. I didn't know if I interrupted your thoughts. Sorry about that. Okay. I got to tell you, there's already, interest in specific talent because of their location. So, you should go through the chat later because, you've got potential job offers for your students already. And then the other one is everyone likes your t-shirts. So I think they want, the PSA t-shirts. I think there's like first edition. We want first edition ones, right? First
edition. Yeah, we'll have to add some to the shop. We have them actually designed, so we'll add them to the shop. And of course, a lot of anything from the shop goes to charity, anyways. But we can certainly put it out there if people are interested. I'm a big fan of the swag.
Yeah, seriously, it's all about the swag these days. The other one here is it's not actually a question, but just understanding the guidance for compensation. Is that something that you talk to the students about, and what are their expectations for comp?
Yeah, so we provide them with some a range based on data that we have. I think the tricky part with a lot of the folks coming in is that they actually have a very broad range of experience. And so some of them come in with fairly relevant experience with regard to technical experience, consulting, customer facing roles that they've held previously, whereas some are coming from very little business experience at all, right? Like Brittany as an example, as a nurse. And so, there's a range that they could probably expect. And so we try to, be fairly broad about what to expect. And of course, where they end up, right? Which type of technology, which type of company will vary greatly as well. So we try to provide them with some guidance to that end. Based on data that's fairly public or that we've gathered from different benchmark surveys and different benchmark studies. But we do provide them with guidance around, how does SC comp or pre-sales comp typically work, right? There's a variable component and a base component, and how are you usually measured? So we do get into that, so they are fairly informed as far as like, what does an OTE even mean, and what's included in that.
That's super important, especially as new folks are joining. They don't understand the whole commission thing. They're like, "What
Right.
commissions? Like, you mean I have to do something to make money?"
Right. Exactly.
But hey, one question for you in closing here. As we think about the new talent that's entering the workforce, what's one piece of advice you give to every leader that's listening to this right now in terms of how they think about new talent? What would they do? That kind of stuff. Any advice?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think I would just say have an open mind, right? I think that, as an early hiring manager in my earlier days, I wanted to find the unicorn, and as we know, right, and as I've learned in my experiences, it's impossible to find a unicorn. I think that this is a great opportunity to give people a chance, who don't have the resume, right? They're not going to have the resume coming in on paper, but they've shown me, this group has definitely shown me that they have the attitude, the desire, the willingness to learn, and the curiosity to figure it out quickly. And so I think it's my ask would just be to have an open mind and take a chance on, and it doesn't have to be these folks in general. I think, across the board, I think there's a lot of people that just need a chance. And, if you can give them that chance and they can step in and prove that they can get it done and figure it out quickly, I think then everybody wins. So
yeah. That's huge. The being open-minded and flexible. I think you find that the folks who are really trying to break into a specific job are really passionate.
Yeah.
And I've actually talked to a couple of your students in your current cohort, and they're just amazing, right? They're super smart. They're really engaged, and they want it. Like, they're really, really after it. So right. You got to give them that opportunity. Well, thanks again, Yuji, for making this a priority and making sure that our profession has a future and that we don't age out. Because, if I look around me, I'm like, all right, where's the next generation? We need to bring them
Yeah,
along.
So well, thank you, Marjorie. It's great to have been here today and just to share what we're doing at PreSales Academy. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out.